After the lonely silence of sovereignty, a new kind of sound emerges. It is a sound of the world waiting, not with expectation, but with potential. The noise of the program has been turned down. The frantic search for belonging has quieted, and in that clear space, a profound and sobering reality dawns. Free will is not just a light of endless possibility. It is a weighty, undeniable responsibility. It is the gravity that bends the very fabric of what comes next. This episode moves us beyond the thrill of rebellion, beyond the simple act of throwing off old chains. That was the easy part. Now we stand in the open field of our own agency, and we feel the ground beneath our feet. Every step will leave a mark. Every gesture sends a ripple through the invisible water of the interconnected whole. The question shifts irrevocably from the child's "what am I allowed to do?" or the rebel's "what can I get away with?" to the only question a true creator ever asks: what does this choice create? We begin to examine choice not from the narrow perspective of personal desire, what do I want, but from the panoramic view of consequence. In a web of life where nothing exists in isolation, a choice is never just a personal transaction. It is a pebble dropped into a pond whose shores we cannot see. The words we speak ripple into the emotional worlds of others. The products we buy send signals through the global supply chain. The thoughts we harbor shape the very chemistry of our bodies and the energy of our immediate space. The magic learned here is the visceral, sometimes heavy, feeling of our own creative power. We are not just making choices, we are casting spells. With every action, word, and even though being a kind of incantation that shapes a tiny piece of reality. This understanding of action and consequence is not a new burden, but an ancient foundational law recognized across wisdom traditions. It is the principle of karma, a Sanskrit word meaning action. In Eastern philosophies, karma is not a system of cosmic punishment and reward, but a precise and personal law of cause and effect. As the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad states, a man becomes good by good deeds, and a bad by bad deeds. It is a teaching of radical responsibility. Our present moment is shaped by past actions, and our future is being seeded by present ones. The weight is the understanding that we are the architects of our own destiny, stroke by deliberate stroke. This cosmic law finds a striking parallel in the modern understanding of systems theory. Every action is seen as an input into a complex, interconnected system, an ecosystem, a family, a society, the global economy. The effects are often non-linear. A small, well-placed intervention, a kind word at the right time, can have disproportionately large positive effects, just as a small, careless one, a rumor, can trigger a cascade of damage. Seeing ourselves as nodes within these living systems makes the weight of choice a practical, ecological reality, not just a spiritual idea. The enlightened masters, those master architects of consequence, embedded this teaching in the very structure of their guidance. They moved beyond "thou shalt not" to illustrate the creative power of aligned action. In the Bhagavad Gita, the warrior Arjuna stands paralyzed on the battlefield, weighed down by the horrific consequences of the war he is about to fight. His dialogue with Krishna is the ultimate discourse of the weight of choice. Krishna does not absolve him of responsibility but reframes it. He instructs Arjuna on the path of selfless action, karma yoga, to perform his necessary duty without attachment to the fruits of the action. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of its action. This is the wizard stance: to act with full force of intention, to create what must be created, but to release desperate control over the specific outcome, which is always entangled in the web of other wills and causes. The Buddha's core teaching of dependent origination is a meticulous map of this weight. It describes how ignorance leads to volitional formations, choices, which leads to consciousness, and on through a chain of cause and effect to suffering. To break the chain is to bring mindful awareness to the moment of choice, the samskara or mental formation, before it becomes an action with inevitable consequences. His noble Eightfold Path is essentially a guide for making choices, right speech, right action, right livelihood, that create the conditions for liberation rather than more bondage. Even the seemingly simple golden rule, found in some form in virtually every world religion, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, is a practical tool for navigating the weight. It is a mental technology for empathy that forces a consideration of consequence before action. It asks us to project the ripple of our choice onto ourselves, to feel its potential impact before sending it out into the world. This maturation of choice is the difference between being a consumer of reality and a conscious creator of it. The childish or rebellious mind sees the world as a supermarket of experiences to grab. The wizard's mind sees it as a garden to tend. One asks, what can I take from this? The other asks, what can I contribute to this? What quality of energy, what kind of vibration, what form of beauty or clarity am I adding to the whole? This weight is not meant to paralyze. It's meant to focus, to consecrate. When we truly feel the gravity of our creative power, our choices become more deliberate, more infused with care. We start to choose not only for our small individual self, but for the health of the relationships we are a part of, for the vitality of the systems we depend on, for the future we are inhabiting with it every present moment decision. The magic is in the feeling of that alignment. It is the feeling when a choice is made not from fear or lack, but from a clear vision of a more harmonious, beautiful, or truthful possibility. It is the understanding that to create our reality is not a selfish act, but the most fundamental responsibility we have. We are literally crafting the world, one weighted, conscious choice at a time. The path of the spiral is no longer just about our own awakening. It becomes about the quality of the wake we leave behind us as we make each turn.